Well, I think that the thing that I've seen in the 3 years now that I'm going to be in the conference is it's just the consistency in this conference. You know, 2/3 of the conference very, very competitive in a bowl sense, knocking off teams in BCS level conferences. Our reputations nationally against these type of teams, it's incredible how good the conference has been. I know I have been fortunate enough to coach at 5 different institutions at a lot of different levels of football. And I've been on the other side at some conferences like the SEC playing against Mid-American Conference schools. But I think at this point in time in our conference history, there hasn't been any point where our conference is as strong from top to bottom as they are now. I don't think there's any question as far as what they call the mid-major, whatever they call all of us teams that maybe are not in the Big Ten or the SEC. There's not a more consistent level of conference than the Mid-American Conference. Well, I think it's just an excitement level. I think anytime you can go to a ball game and you can watch a lot of scoring, that's exciting to the fan, and it's an exciting level of play and a style of play. It's popular now, and I think in a Mid-American Conference where quarterbacks have been so important to the conference, you can accentuate that with a wide open throwing attack, and that's what we've done through the years. Roethlisberger and on back of quarterbacks that can play in the NFL, and so I think that's important. I think without an explosive offense, the chance for an upset of a BCS level team or a Big Ten, you got to have an offense that can put points on the board to get that upset here or there, and we've had those kind of offenses. So I think it's very much a part of the tradition, history of our conference, not just good, solid play and outstanding coaching, but quarterback play and offenses that are exciting is very much a staple of the Mid-American Conference. I think you're very well going to see a new group of quarterbacks, and that's what always happens when you've got 3 or 4 veterans that dominate the show. When they move on, the new ones step up and they take over, and they're usually just as good as the previous bunch. And so, I think that's kind of what you look. Jordan Lynch, in a lot of ways, will not be duplicated and replicated in a while because the style of play was really different, Tim Tebow's style. But I think we'll have great quarterbacks next year, just like we had last year, and I think that's part of Mid-America and the level of quarterback play around the Midwestern states of America and the kind of player we get in the Mid-American Conference. Well, always great coaches have come to the Mid-American Conference because of the conference and where it is in relation to the Big Ten, the SEC, Pac-10, and ACC. Your better coaches get hired away quite often. So you see great young coaches come in, and the reality is a great young coach comes in, and eventually you're going to lose him because, one, he's not going to win enough, and they're going to get somebody in that does, or he's going to win and they're going to get hired away. So you always see coaches at the prime of I shouldn't say the prime, at the beginning of their career, the Nick Sabans and the Urban Meyers, and go all back to Don James and just the recent ones that we've seen that have been coaching the last 2 or 3 years. That takes you back a little bit there. But I think it's always been a cradle of young coaches that come in here, given an opportunity, they do well and move forward. So, I mean, other than guys like me and Frank Solich that are really on the other end of our careers, we like to think we can make an impact on this conference in a little different way. Well, I mean, Frank Solich, for example, and I mention him because I am so impressed with what he's done at Ohio University, knowing what successes he had at Nebraska after being an assistant for so long and being a head coach. He comes into Ohio, now the dean of our conference, and has been there about 10 years or so, and the success that he's had, and at our age, and sometimes that there's not another place that you're really looking to go or you go, and so you kind of drop your roots, and that's where you finish up. And so I think there's also that other side of our conference of coaches who come in and see us at a place to get a program back to where it needs to be, or a place to come in and finish a career. And so it's there's coaches at different levels and stages of their career, and I'm one of them. I'm right there as well. Well, it's funny. I've always thought it was funny to play a game on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, but even when I got back into coaching, when I was broadcasting, Tuesday night was MAC night. You got to see nationally, and I lived in other parts of the country, And I was watching a MAC team play every Tuesday night. You know, at about that point in the season, it was just it's a MAC night. It's where you get national exposure, national attention. And now that I'm a part of the MAC conference, you can see what it is to be able to have a captive audience that we have on Tuesday nights, because people will watch college football as many nights as you'll put it on TV, and you can't get much earlier than Tuesday. And so, you know, once you have an off week, you can make that your Saturday if you want to. We've got 4 straight Tuesday night games to end the season next year. And we have an off week the week before that, so that makes every one no different than a Saturday night game for us. And so we're excited about it. I think over the years it has become established, and I don't think the MAC would be near as well known and have the notoriety if it wasn't for those Tuesday night games that people watch and enjoy seeing. Well, I mean, the safety of the student athlete, I mean, that's got to be our primary concern always, the health, safety, welfare of our student athletes. If we don't make that our primary mission as coaches and administrators and as conferences, then we're missing the boat, because that's got to be primary. And it can be with all these other things that are important, you know, building good championship teams, promoting colleges and healthy play. None of that works if we don't protect our players. And it's not a whole bunch of things going on. We've got to protect the head area. We've got to protect the lower part of the extra body for the quarterback when he's unprotected. If we just do a couple of things like that, we're going to be heading in the right direction. I think we all must remember we're only getting to this point now because I think technology, because medicine has changed so much that we're seeing things we weren't aware of before. Don't have to go back too far to when they were banning football in America because of the deaths, those type of injuries that occurred around the turn of the 20th century, when football was a different game, to know that we have made strides and strides in college football to make it safer and better a work environment for these athletes. But now, as we look at these rules now, we're trying to eliminate the major head injuries and the extreme lower body injuries that quarterbacks get. We're only heading in the right direction, and we're only going to make it better, and we're doing the right thing. MACtion's surprise, MACtion's excitement and surprise. I think you get great excitement every week, and we're the conference of surprises. We're the conference of upsets, of big wins, of things people don't expect, of players that go higher in the draft than people imagine. I think just it's an element of surprise where although we play exciting football, it's just that element of surprise people get each and every week, that they can't believe that this is happening in the MAC. You know what? I have people that do all my Twittering for me, so all I know is that they bring it to me, I guarantee it, I change it, I put the right wording in, and somebody else does it all for me. But we believe in it, and we do it every day. In fact, but I've got somebody that handles all the hashtags. Everything we do is done by somebody about 30 or 40 years younger than me. Great rivalry, and again, I'm not a Midwesterner by coaching career, and so that's that school down the road. I'm pretty comfortable with saying Kent State is our rival. But you know, I've been a lot of places. I grew up in Morgantown, where I went to West Virginia, and we had Pitt, and that was our backyard brawl, and Florida State, Florida, and that one I coached in Alabama, Auburn, Alabama. There's not one probably meaner than that one. But you know, Akron, Kent, we live on the same street. You know, there's cross-state rivals, there's interstate rivals, and there's cross-city rivals. We're 12 miles apart. We go to the same grocery stores. We work in the same buildings. Our children go to the same schools. It's more than just a rivalry. It's an everyday affair. It doesn't matter whether each team's having a winning season or a losing season. It's day-to-day, life and death. So it's a huge rivalry. Until you come here and lose it, do you know how big it is? And you know what? We got that wagon wheel back last year, and we don't plan on giving it up.